Greetings and welcome to What's New with Human Design, in which we follow the journey of the sun and the earth around the human design mandala. Hi everyone, Maggie here. Welcome to episode number 13 of What's New with Human Design. Today is March 30th, 2021, and today the sun moves into the gate 21 and the earth moves into the gate 48. Now, I know a lot about this configuration because it's part of my incarnation cross. This particular transit happens every year around this time, and tomorrow is my birthday. So that means that this configuration is what was happening when I was born. Now, I have my human design chart here, and I just wanted to show you. So the 21 is right here, and it's defined in my chart, and it's over here. This is the 48, which is over on the spleen. So that's what I'm going to be talking with you about today. So the 21 is on the will center. The will center is the center for, it's part of the heart center, and it's the center for value, for willpower, and for courage. I always like to think of it as courage, right? It's like this power that you have to be able to do what you need to do in life. And so it is, the will center is one of the four motors in the chart. So it is a power center, but unlike the other motors in the chart, the saying that we say about the will center is that it works to rest. So it has built into it the need to rest. The way that my mentor Karen Curry Parker talks about it is as if it was like a bank. And so there's a certain amount of energy in there. And when you use the energy that's up, is you need to put more energy back in. And you do that through rejuvenation and rest. And this is something that we can easily do this time of year, because this time of year is all about rejuvenation and rebirth. And so we're looking at how do we really use our stores, but also to do it in a wise way. So the 21 is the gate for in traditional human design, it's known kind of as the CEO gate. It's the person who manages all the resources, who's kind of in charge of what's happening inside of the company. In quantum human design, Karen has renamed it as self-management, really having to do with being able to manage our own resources. This is where my sun is in my chart, so I know this energy really, really well. And it is about being able to understand what our resources are. And of course, we have resources on many, many different levels, right? Because our energy is one of them. When we think about resources, we also often think about money, right? But there's also resources like our vitality, our physical health, our emotions, and our emotional energy is a kind of resource. All of the different intelligences that we have, right? Both our intellect, but our intuition and our sensitivities, all of our different types of intelligences, all of those are also resources. Our opportunities that show up in our lives, and our relationships, right? Our friendships, our beloveds, these are all resources that we have in our life. So the 21 really teaches us how do we well manage or steward. I really like that word. How do we steward our resources so that we always have what we need? Now, there may be times where we deplete that bank of resources a little bit because we're doing a lot of output for a period of time, but then we need to rest and replenish those resources as well. So like if you think about in a friendship, right, there's times where you may be really challenged and you're going to lean on your friends a lot, right? But then there's other times where you're really well-resourced and your friends are going to lean on you. So if you think about it in terms of reciprocity that way. And it's really reciprocity with everything in the world, because it has to do with the natural world also. This is a place where I think as a species, as humanity, we need to build our understanding of reciprocity with the natural world. We're actually not very good at reciprocating. We're really good at taking, and this is part of what our Western culture is based on, is taking from the natural world. But the 21 is telling us it's a tribal energy, and it's telling us that we also need to well steward the resources that we receive from the natural world as well. and that the natural world, in the way that it's been being depleted, right, needs to be rejuvenated. It needs to have us be putting more energy and more attention and more care back into the natural world. So this is an energy that's really available to you right now over the next few days. So you can be looking first at yourself about how well are you stewarding your own personal resources, and then looking at how you're stewarding the resources, like the energy that you use, whether that's how much you drive your car or how much electricity you use, that sort of thing. How are you, do you have a garden? How well are you taking care of your garden? How well are you taking care of things in the environment around you? Are you supporting your local parks, for example? Are you supporting your local farmers, organic farmers? These are all ways that you can help to be reciprocal by helping the resources that are around you. Okay, so these are the awakened aspect of the 21. More of a shadow aspect of the 21 would be where you're using resources a way to control and manipulate other people. So, the way that this often shows up, for example, is when people withhold things from others in order to try to get what they want, whether that's withholding money, it's withholding love, it's withholding sex, it's withholding approval. Those are all ways that the 21 can show up in its shadow aspect. And then in its disempowered aspect is it can show up as overdrawing your bank account on habitually, for example, or habitually working to the point of exhaustion, which was one of my favorites in the past. I don't do it anymore, but I used to do that in the past before I learned I was a generator and learned what that meant. So, but it's really about depleting yourself, right? Either that or hoarding, right? Hoarding and not wanting to actually have your resources circulating, because resources are designed to circulate. Energy is designed to circulate. Money, love, vitality, all designed to circulate, not designed to be held and hoarded. Okay, so those are some of the places you can look at for yourself and be like, am I either being disempowered or acting out a little bit in the shadow aspect? How can I move more into the awakened aspect of the 21? The 21 is also, if you look here on my chart, I don't know if you can really see it, but the 45 is here on the throat, and the 21 leads right up into the 45, and we have talked about the 45 in earlier episodes of What's New with Human Design. But the 45 is natural leadership. In traditional human design, it was known as the king or queen or the sovereign of gate. And so the 21 is the one, like the CEO or the manager, is the one who really brings resources to that sovereign state. So in my work with feminine sovereignty, I have really looked at how we need to be able to well manage our resources in order to express our personal sovereignty. So that's one of the things that you might look at for yourself, because if you think about it, if you're always exhausting yourself energetically, or if you're habitually overdrawing your bank account, or if you've got too much debt, you have too many credit cards and too much debt and you're not really paying attention to it, those are all things that are going to mitigate your personal sovereignty, right? They're going to pull away from your ability to truly be in charge of your own life, and then also to become a steward of the planet, which is what feminine sovereignty is all about. So you might want to look at that for yourself. So what's the relationship between your stewarding of resources and your ability to be sovereign in your life? Now, the Earth is in the gate 48, and I love the gate 48. The gate 48 is on the spleen. It's part of the logic circuit. And in the I Ching and in the traditional human design, the gate 48 is called depth, or the well. And I really pondered for a while what that meant, but it means that it's about, well, and in quantum human design, Karen has renamed it as wisdom, which totally makes sense to me. So it's about the love of learning. It's what helped me get my PhD. It's what's made me a lifelong learner. It's what's made me be able to develop several bodies of work over the last 25 years. It's what enables me to write as much as I do, and so on. All of those things come out of my 48. And so it's a beautiful energy to support you in its awakened state, to be able to learn deeply about something that you're interested in. So really utilize that over the next few days. And it can also be about your life experience. It's not necessarily just something you learned in books or you learned in school or you learned in online programs. It's also what you've learned through your life experience, because wisdom comes from life experience. Wisdom isn't something you can read about in a book. That's information. Okay. And you have to add life experience to anything that you learn that's external in order for it to become wisdom in your system. This is one of the things I teach in depth in my work with feminine sovereignty. Because the 48 is the key gate for the wise woman. Okay. And so the shadow side of this is when you might be using what you know in order to try to control other people, in order to put them down. One of the ways that we're seeing this a lot right now is around people using statistics and science to assert truth. Because the 48 is in the logic circuit, and so it is about patterns, and it is related to the scientific method. And I think science has a lot to contribute to us, but I think it's only one of many ways of knowing. The human design chart shows us many ways of knowing, and science and logic is only one of them. And so I think it has a key role to contribute to our greater understanding, but I don't see it as the master. And we've been seeing a lot of assertions of truth based on science, particularly in this environment of COVID-19. And I'm not here to say that science isn't significant. And it's really become this thing, like, you know, we believe in science is kind of the new mantra about COVID-19. And I think that there's value in that. But I also caution against it being asserted as absolute truth, because I don't think that it is. Science is like everything else, and it has a perspective, it has parameters, and so it's limited in what it can reveal to us. So just watch out for that shadow of the 48 where the science is being asserted as absolute truth. And then the disempowered aspect is when you think you never know enough, right? And so this is where you can just hold yourself back from fully engaging with your life. For example, putting your body of work out there in the world, or not creating that next program that's based in your body of work, or never finishing the book you've been working on, or something like that. Because the spleen, which the 48 is on the spleen, is the center for instinct. And so the fear there can be the fear that I don't know enough, right? And that I'm going to be caught not knowing something. But the thing to know about instinct is that typically those fears are not grounded in current reality. And when you move through that fear, then you step into the realm of intuition, which is the higher aspect of all of the spleen, is intuition that becomes available there. So with the 48, you really want to be reveling in the development of your wisdom through learning, through life experience, through reflection, and then being able to offer out what you know into the world. I feel like the 48 and the wise woman are what's really carrying me through and writing my book right now. It's a powerful, beautiful energy. And you want to watch out for this with the shadow and the disempowered aspects. So as you're putting this together, be excited to dive into what you want to know more about, and use the wisdom. If you see that you're off base with some of your resources, some of the things that I already mentioned, whether that has to do with relationships or with money or with your own energy, your own health, if you see that, use the 48 to help you find out more about how you can bring yourself back into balance, how you can be wiser about your resources, how you can start to, like, what do you need to do to rebuild your reserves regarding those resources that you have. And use your 48, use your wisdom to discern what that is, and set it in place now during these next few days, and then it'll carry with you through the rest of the year. Okay, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment. Many blessings, much love. Bye for now.